What's up, guys and gals? Danny Lennon back with another War Robots video. So there is a huge rebalance being proposed on the next test server. There are going to be loads and loads of rebalances. I mean, everything's either getting nerfed or buffed. War Robots wants to take the current extremely high damage game and put it back to the way it was, where it was more slow paced and things did not die as fast. So they're going to be nerfing pretty much anything doing crazy amounts of damage. That way the game goes back to the old way of being a little more slow paced. I mean, I'm sure most of us are tired of being destroyed in about a quarter of a second from all the way across the map by the Ravengers and stuff like that. So, this is their proposal to fix those issues. So first off, the Ravager is getting a pretty big rebalance. You can read this here. There's too many of these for me to read through, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through and pause this if you need to. But that right there is the Ravager rebalance. Let's move on to the Samjock rebalance. So they are going to be nerfing the Samjock significantly. These are the changes right here. Again, pause this if you need to, but they're definitely putting a big nerf on the Samjock. That is exactly what they plan to change right there. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. There's going to be a big downgrade to the Ducks. So Ducks is taking a big hit. I'm pretty tired of this thing smashing all of my robots. So honestly, I think the Samjock, the Ducks, and the Ravager all needed a little bit of a nerf, but that's what they're doing to the Ducks right there. Again, hit pause if you need to. We are going to move on to what they're doing to the Condor, but that is what they're doing to the Ducks right there. So right now we can see the Condor and the Raptor rebalances. So there's definitely going to be some nerfs to these things. So Condor, it's been nerfed a few times. It's getting nerfed again. And the Raptor is also getting a nerf. Like, it's getting a buff and a nerf, to tell you the truth. It's getting more durability, but it's losing some speed, and they're taking away some of the reflector shields. So that's pretty interesting, but let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. So even some of the brand new robots, the stuff that just came out, are about to get balance changes. So the Leo, is getting a rebalance, and the Nuo is getting a rebalance. So yeah, those are both getting rebalances, both slight nerfs, nothing too crazy. So there's that. So next up, we are moving on to the Sword Robot. So the Sword Robot is getting a rebalance, and the Orochi is getting a rebalance as well. So I'd assume the Orochi is going to be a buff, but the Sword is going to be a nerf. So let me check out the Orochi really quick. So yes, the Orochi is actually getting a buff, which is really cool. I mean, that's an old robot. Nobody really plays it anyway. But if you like the Orochi, it is being buffed, and the Sword is being nerfed. Next, we have a Demeter, a Hawk, and a Shell rebalance. So these are all being buffed, right? The Demeter is being buffed, the Hawk is being buffed, and the Shell. If you purchase something on the War Robots web shop, don't forget to enter code DannyLightning at checkout, all lowercase and one word. That helps support this channel, and you might find some discounts and free stuff on the web shop as well. Supporting this channel helps it keep bringing you videos just like this. I'll put a link to the web shop in the video's description and the pinned comment. As you can see, the Fafnir is getting an increased speed bonus. That's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to get some more speed when it's in the air, so I'm actually looking forward to that. I would love for the Fafnir to become playable again, but I'm not sure that little bit of extra speed is going to make much of a difference. We'll find out, but I'm kind of looking forward to that one. So that's a buff. So now we're moving on to the Titans. Now these are just proposed balance changes that they're putting on the test server for testing. Remember that. But the Mauler gets a pretty big nerf here. So the Mauler is probably still the strongest Titan. It's been the strongest Titan for a long time. So the Mauler is getting downgraded again. Hopefully it's not going to be crazy strong. I mean, bottom line is we want our Titans to be strong, but we don't want them to be as strong as the Mauler. It's a little bit ridiculous. Next up on the list, the Devour is getting a bunch of balance changes. This seems to be an overall nerf. I mean, it's losing some disability. It is getting a couple of increased defense points. So, you know, I mean, some of these things are getting nerfed and buffed at the same time. But this is what's going on with the Devour right there. So we can expect to see a very big balance change coming to Devour very soon. So that's pretty much the deal with that. So there's the Devour stat. You can read that. And if you can't, then I don't know, maybe you need some glasses or a new set of eyeballs. But let's move on to the weapons that are about to get nerfed or buffed. All right, so here's where things get interesting. All tier 4 weapons not mentioned below are getting a damage reduction by 10%. It says damage per particle reduction by 10%. So I think that means every shot that lands is going to do 10% less damage on every single tier 4 weapon in the game that's not listed on this list. So pretty much all weapons are getting downgraded that are tier 4. No matter which weapon it is, it's at least getting a 10% reduction. So the regulators are getting rebalanced. Those things have been a nightmare, so I'm actually pretty glad they're doing that. But being a dyslexic guy, and there's so many things here, it would take an hour for me to go over this whole thing, but that's what the regulators are getting. Those are getting a nice downgrade. I mean, I'm getting tired of being destroyed by those. Screamers, growlers, and hellers, these things are getting a pretty big rebalance. It looks like there's quite a few things going on here. So it looks like those are getting, you know, a little bit of a buff, I think, and a nerf at the same time. So I'm not really sure what that's going to do to those weapons, but that's what's going to go on with the Screamer, Growler, and Heller right there. We're going to move on to the next one, which is the Discipline and the Smite. So these are the next things on the balance change list right here. So those are getting a little bit of a balance change as well. And yeah, you can see it right there. You saw it here first. I mean, maybe you didn't. Maybe you saw it somewhere else first. I don't know, but you're seeing it here now, so that's good enough. Next, we're going to move over to the Curran, Mogwin, and Gangle. These things are getting a rebalance. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but you can see the changes right there. I mean, that's going to be, I don't know. Those are pretty strong, so they definitely need a little bit of a nerf. In my opinion, I get really tired of these things that are just doing way too much damage. The brand new Nanny and Nanu weapons, the Nanny weapons, whatever you want to call them, those are getting a nerf as well. So yeah, we're going to see a nerf on those. So they're getting increased reload time and all kinds of junk. The brand new weapons that just came out, the arms, the Arm M and the Arm L, those are on here for a nerf. And a buff, because they're going to get more projectile speeds. They're going to fire 25% faster, but they're also going to do a little less damage. So I'm not really sure if that's going to overall nerf or buff those weapons, but probably nerf them a little bit. Gauss, Weber, and Volt. Now, this is interesting, right? Damage per particle reduced. So they're getting a damage reduction and a very small increase in the reload time. Or reduction. It's going to reload faster, but it's going to do less damage. We got Prismas. All right, so Prismas are going to do less damage. And in a way, I'm a little bit upset about that, but those are doing crazy damage from all the way across the map. The gas weapons, I don't understand. I don't even think these are that good in the first place. They're reducing the shield down to 150,000 from 200,000. Personally, I don't know why. The Ultimate Havoc, all right, that thing right now is probably the strongest weapon in the game. That is getting nerfed already. They're nerfing the ultimate stuff now because it's just too much. So Ultimate Havoc is getting a nerf. Ultimate Shredder is getting a nerf. So they are reducing the damage on the Ultimate Shredders. They are reducing the damage on the Ultimate Shock Train. So there's a lot of weapons. And then, like I said, every single tier 4 weapon is getting 10% less per particle. So there's a lot going on there. Now we're moving on to Titan weapons. The Anguisher and the Runers are getting rebalanced. These things are on the rebalance list right here. Let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Okay, like I always say, you know, pause this thing if you need to read some more, but the Huggins and the Moonins, all right, these are getting a radius decrease, so they're not going to be quite as good. I mean, it says from 150 to 50 meters, so yeah, so you're going to have to, I guess, I don't know, you're probably going to have to be right next to somebody to get those to bounce off other enemies. That's kind of only a small nerf, really. It's not like reducing the damage, just how they bounce from enemy to enemy. It looks like the Maha and the Maha Vajra are getting rebalance as well, which is something I'm pretty surprised. I mean, these are super old weapons, so I was not expecting to see these things getting nerfed. But they're not gonna be as good at this point. The Arbiter and the Equalizer, those are getting a pretty big nerf, so I would expect that to be nowhere near as good. Those things are definitely getting a nerf. The Ultimate Grom that just came out, it's way too strong. That is getting a nerf. And they're also going to be nerfing some drones. Now we're moving on to drones. So the brand new Ward 39D that just came out, that is on the list of rebalances. So that thing is pretty much getting rebalanced. The Moderator drone has a very big list of things being changed. So that's not going to be as good, right? They're basically nerfing the Moderator drone. So let's go ahead and show you the rest of what's going on there. There's a lot of changes on the Moderator, a lot. So yeah, rewind that if you need to see the rest of it, whatever it is, but lots of changes on the Moderator. They're downgrading that one by a lot. Next, we have the Aopo drone. This one is also a brand new drone, and it's getting a pretty big rebalance. So Aopo, big rebalance. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I never thought I would see some of the new stuff getting rebalanced this quickly. Next, we have the Webby. The Webby drone is getting a really big rebalance, right? We are rebalancing the Webby. So it's getting, less damage and everything else. The Webby is not going to be as good, so that is getting downgraded. Next, we have the Wave drone, so that's getting downgraded as well. I mean, some of these things have a couple of upgrades and downgrades, but what I notice is when they do that, when they upgrade and downgrade some of these things, it normally ends up being an overall downgrade most of the time. So the Hawkeye is getting reduced on the gray damage, right? Protection from gray damage is only going to be 10% instead of 25%. Personally, I don't like that. That's probably going to make the Hawkeye crappy. Maybe. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going to be that good anymore if they do that. The Shy drone is getting reduced defense points. Don't like that. The Shy drone was perfect the way it is. We need things to give us defense points. The Seeker reduced effective range. So that's, you're going to have to be within 200 meters for the anti-stealth on the Seeker to work. So that's, I don't know why they're doing that either. Then there's going to be a bunch of Mothership turrets being rebalanced. So we got the Frederick, that Mothership, and the turrets, right? The Frederick Mothership, big rebalance on the damage stacks there. Beholder is getting, reduced damage per second. The Sonic Bomb cannon turret is reduced gray damage. The durability extender is getting a couple of changes right there. Those look like nerfs. And then the advanced Aegis system is getting some changes as well. So that's a decrease or a nerf to that. Then there's a couple of pilots. So the Cliff Debussy from the Ravager pilot, it's not going to allow the Ravager to do anywhere near as much damage now. So that is getting a big downgrade. And then the Devourer pilot is getting a very big downgrade. So I'm telling you, there are a lot of things going on with this rebalance, like a lot of things, huge amounts of changes. Again, these are just proposed on the test server. They're going to test this stuff out. They're going to listen to our feedback. They're going to see how everything performs. And then they're going to decide what they want to actually nerf or buff or change the numbers around accordingly. But these are just the initial rebalance proposed numbers and stuff. Now, none of us really love things being rebalanced most of the time, but right now, I'm getting so sick of dropping in a robot. It takes 2 steps, or it doesn't even touch the ground yet, and a Ravager or a Mothership or something just and it's gone within a split second. I'm getting very, 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 very tired of that. I've been complaining to Pixonic for months that things are doing way too much damage and it's sucking the fun out of the game. So Pixonic is actually trying to do something about things doing way too much damage. So honestly, there's some things on this list that I'm upset about, and there's some things on this list that we actually need. I mean, nothing on this list is final or set in stone. Any of this could change, but I do think we need some of these changes, but there's a few other ones where I'm not 100% sure why they want to change it. Some of the older stuff, I don't really get it. That should probably just be left alone, but it is what it is. They may or may not change some of the older stuff. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but these are the rebalances coming up on the next test server. At this point in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and a huge shout out to my channel members. Channel memberships start at just a couple of dollars, and they really help this channel keep running and bringing you videos just like this. If you check out the pinned comment or the video's description, you'll see my affiliate links where you can get some really amazing stuff. You'll find some different ways to help support this channel in the video's description and the pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching my videos and hanging out with me on the live streams. I appreciate each and every one of you a lot. Have a wonderful day, and we will catch you next time.